Every morning, very early, before the sun had fully turned the waters of the sea to gold, she walked Clara. A simple name, light, almost like a breeze. Her bare feet left soft marks in the damp sand, as if whispering stories time had yet to tell. The beach was hers, or at least it felt that way. Seldom visited, somewhat forgotten. A hidden curve between rocks and wind, with a soul found silence and the heart rest. She came there every day, and she couldn't say why. Maybe it was longing, maybe just habit, or perhaps a hope that hadn't yet found a name. That morning, the sky was grayer, the sea more restless, but Clara didn't mind the weather. She understood the moods of the ocean. She knew when it wanted to speak. And then she saw it, a bottle small, rolling between the waves, coming from somewhere no one could name. She walked toward it slowly, as if honoring a whisper. The bottle was cold, thick, greenish glass. Inside, a folded piece of paper. Clara hesitated. Her heart beat faster, but her hands knew what to do. She gently removed the cork, as if opening a secret. The paper resisted, but did not tear. And when Clara unrolled it, she read, asterisk, asterisk, if you found this message, it's because the sea chose you. The love I lost may still be alive, look for me, but not in the usual places. I will be where memory hides and the heart still recognizes. The invisible asterisk, asterisk signed only R. Clara stood there, with the bottle in her hand and the wind in her hair, not understanding, but feeling that something had changed. That morning, the beach was no longer the same, nor was she, and without knowing why, Clara smiled. The note was in her hands, but it felt as if it were inside her. Clara read each word again, twice, 3 times. The sea chose you. A shiver ran through her, not of fear, but of recognition, as if a forgotten part of herself had been gently stirred, delicately awakened. She went home earlier that day, but she couldn't focus on anything. Not the tea, not the half-finished book, not even the picture frame she'd been meaning to fix for weeks. The bottle sat on the kitchen table like a quiet visitor. The paper, now dry, rested beside it, and those words kept echoing within her, like a melody without sound. By late afternoon, Clara did what she always did when something inside her felt out of place. She returned to the beach, this time without hurry, without expectation, and there, sitting on the crooked stone shaped by time, she whispered her first question. Who are you, R? That's when something curious happened. An elderly man with white hair, who often passed by with an old camera, stopped beside her. Good afternoon, Miss Clara. His voice was rough, but kind. She recognized him. His name was Elias. He had lived nearby for over 20 years. You seem more thoughtful than usual today. Clara smiled, a little shyly. I found a bottle in the sea. With a note inside. Elias raised an eyebrow. A message? She nodded. Someone signed it R and said, the sea chose me. Elias looked out to the horizon. Then, back at her, I've heard stories like that before. Tales of love lost in time, but not in the heart. Some say the sea keeps what memory cannot erase. Clara remained silent, but inside something stirred. An old memory, perhaps, or simply a feeling that refused to fade. And what if it's someone looking for me? She asked softly, and Elias replied, gently, then maybe it's time you started looking too. That night, Clara didn't fall asleep early. She gazed out the window at the sky. The stars felt closer, and the name R danced in her thoughts like a leaf carried by the breeze. Who was R? And why? Did it feel like She already knew him? The next day dawned in silence. Clara woke before the alarm, as if her body wanted to say something her mind didn't yet understand. She got up slowly, made some coffee, watched the steam rise from the cup like a mist of memories. In the center of the table, the bottle was still there, not just as an object, but as a presence, as if the message it carried wasn't the end, but the beginning of something. Clara felt as if she had read the first line of a long letter, a letter written by time itself. Throughout the day, she tried to stay busy with simple tasks. She watered the plants, organized an old bookshelf, flipped through a recipe notebook she hadn't opened in months. But her thoughts always returned to the same place. The C, the letter R, and the strange feeling that the message wasn't meant for just anyone. It was meant for her. In the late afternoon, she walked to the village library, an old mansion scented with aged paper and filled with golden sunlight pouring through. Wide windows. Clara wandered through the shelves without knowing what she was looking for, until her eyes landed on a navy blue book. No visible title, just a small name on the spine. Rail. She picked it up, flipped through the pages. It was a novel. The story of a lonely man who wrote letters to the sea, hoping that someday someone would find them. A shiver passed through her. Rail R. The name danced within her like an old breeze. Was it just coincidence? Or destiny revealing itself in small signs? She took the book home and read the first sentence. Some hearts are never truly lost. They simply hide, waiting to be found by someone who still knows how to listen to the silence. Clara closed her eyes for a moment. In that instant, she understood. The search wasn't for quick answers. It was for meaning, for memories that maybe weren't even hers, for a path that began at the sea, but didn't end there. Perhaps there really were letters the sea had hidden, not in bottles, but in the soul. And slowly, Clara was beginning to learn how to read them. The next morning, Clara woke with a single thought. One name still echoed within her, Rail, and along with it, a place she hadn't visited in many years, the house on the hill. It was an old house with wide windows and a low roof, half hidden among the trees. From there, you could see the entire sea, like a blue carpet stretching until it touched the sky. Clara didn't quite know why she thought of that house. Maybe it was just a desire to reconnect with the past. Or maybe it was the quiet, restlessness rising inside her, like a tide slowly coming in. She climbed the path with slow steps. The wind rustled the leaves as if greeting her. Some stones still held the traces of other feet. Old footsteps, memories left behind by time. When she arrived, the house was just as she remembered, silent, dusty, but alive. As if it had been waiting, Clara walked closer. There was no one there. The front door was still closed, but one of the side windows was slightly open. She looked inside and saw books. Shelves filled with books, stacks of notebooks, old stationery, pens, envelopes. It was as if someone had lived there writing a lot, writing as if they needed to exist through words. Clara placed her hand on the windowsill. The wood was cold, but familiar. And then she remembered, as a child, she had been there. Her father used to take her to visit a lonely man who spent his days writing letters, letters that were never sent. He called them letters to the sea. Back then, she thought it was beautiful. But with time, she forgot, or perhaps she chose to forget. Now, everything was coming back. The letter R, the feeling of belonging, the words in the message, the book she found, and that house, full of silences that seemed ready to speak. Clara stood there for a long time. She didn't go in. She didn't touch anything. She simply felt. And before leaving, she whispered, "If you're still out there, I will find you." As she walked down the hill, the sky seemed clearer, the wind gentler, and within her, the name Rail was no longer a mystery. It was a calling. The next day, Clara returned to the hill. This time, she brought the old key her father had left in a memory box, the one she almost gave away without opening. The key fit easily. The door creaked as if waking from a long sleep. The house smelled of aged paper and shut windows. But it carried something else too, a feeling Clara couldn't name, but that made her take a deep breath and move forward. She walked slowly through the rooms. Touches of a simple life, a kettle on the stove, a coat draped over the back of a chair, a faceless photo frame on the mantel. But it was the notebooks that called to her. Stacked on a desk near the window, they sat as if they had never been forgotten. Clara sat down gently and opened the first one. The pages were full, steady handwriting, lines written with quiet emotion. And at the top of the first page, for her, the one who came with the wind and stayed in my memory, she read, page by page, word by word. They weren't made-up stories. They were memories, fragments of a presence. She read about a dark-haired girl who used to play with seashells by the shore. She read about conversations in the shadow of the rocks, about shared laughter and a good kind of silence, the kind that only exists between souls who recognize each other. She read about the pain of distance and about hope that never died. Rail had written letters, many, but he never sent them. He kept them all there in that house of silence and time, because he believed, with the faith of those who love in silence, that one day she would return. And now, here she was, reading what was never said, listening with her heart to what had never been spoken aloud. Clara didn't cry. She simply smiled, because now she understood. The sea didn't just bring a bottle. It brought back a part of her, a sleeping memory, a forgotten love that, in truth, had never left. As she left the house, she took only one notebook with her, the last one. And inside it, Rail's final written words, asterisk, asterisk. If you've read this far, it means you still believe. Find me where the words meet the sea. I'll be there, waiting. I always have. Asterisk, asterisk. Clara closed her eyes, felt the wind, heard the sea in the distance, and began to walk, no longer searching for answers, but walking towards someone she had always loved, even if she hadn't known it until now.